Hey, hey, just kicking this off. Can you guys hear us?
Let's talk about dentistry and learn more.
And three-prong crowns that are just not the right way to do it.
I know I would always say 5 or 6
Yeah.
personally.
Why three? Why stop at three?
I know.
So much of that jargon was so lost on me.
We were like,
Hmm. But it's really funny. They all just chimed in. Another thing that was a sort of lexicon that when they were talking about years in dental school, it was D1, D2, D3, D4. I don't know if you picked up on that towards the end. Which was just an interesting, I think if it comes up, I will. Um,
hmm.
um, the a sort of Eric, I do not hear you. Years in, I don't hear you. On D2, D3, D4. I just reheard myself saying something.
That's because I hadn't muted the thing yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Nope, we're good. And were you able to log into the chat?
Yeah, I think so. But to test it on live chat, I need to do it now. So top chat. Actually, though, where can I? Yeah.
Margaret, can I ask you a favor? Could you come off the Zoom and try to rejoin? I'm just trying to figure out once if I get someone in the room that I'm hoping to release, I'm wondering if I can send them to like a separate small side room, which I think you can, but I just want to test it.
Yeah, let me leave and I'll.
Or wait, let me try this. Hang on. I could put you in waiting room. Yeah, will you try? And I'm just gonna see if I can make like a.
Okay, leave.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Margaret, did you see my chat?
The Zoom. I was also looking at my texts though.
Oh, no worries. I was just testing out. You can actually message someone in the waiting room. So I was just looking to see if
I can go out back in.
nah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
I was actually wondering now that I sent that message to you, I'm like, oh God, is someone in the waiting room gonna see that message that's like, you can leave? So I just sent another message that said for everyone in the waiting room, like, please feel free to ignore the above message. Do Philip here. I'm gonna go ahead and let Philip in and just tell him to hang out on mute. I just don't want him to feel like he's like sitting waiting. Hey there, Philip. I'm Fabi and Margaret's here as well. Just wanted to let you into the room, but we're waiting on a few more folks, so feel free to hang out on mute. We'll start in about 10 minutes. Thanks.
Sounds good. Recording in progress.
Hey there. Sorry. Hey there, Neha. Thanks for joining us. We still have about 5 more minutes before we're going to start, so feel free to pop on mute. Would love once we get going for you guys to turn on your video just so we can all see each other, but no need to do that quite yet. But yeah, thanks for being here, and we'll get started in a few minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Hey, Josh, thanks for joining us. We are going to get started in just a few minutes. So if you want to just hang out on mute until then, that's totally fine.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Hey, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. We have just a couple more minutes before we're getting started. I'm Fabi. Margaret is here as well. We will, get going in a couple minutes. Feel free to hang on mute until then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mike, I renamed you just so I don't call you Mike and Mal while we're chatting and forget something. So just did that.
Totally fine.
Hey there, Jasmine. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to wait one more minute to see if we get a couple more people, and then we'll get going.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks. Hey there. Thanks for joining. We're just going to wait one more minute and then we will get started. And once we do get started, everyone would love for you to turn on your video so we can all see each other, but totally respect you hanging out in mute and off video for right now. All right, everyone, let's get started. Thank you so much for being here. If you would be able to turn on your videos, it would be awesome. Just so we can have a bit more of a feeling like we're in a room together, even though it's very much virtual and everyone's chiming in from all over the country. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. It is really great to meet you. I'll kick off with a bit of a spiel about us and who we are and what we're all doing here. Like I said, my name is Fabiana. I go by Fabi, and I'm here with Margaret in the classes. And we are we work for Vladimir Jones. It is an advertising agency and research firm in Colorado. And really what we do for various clients is go around and talk to individuals about certain subject matter. And so tonight is specifically about dental careers and going from dental school into a dental career. But we do this for all manner of subjects with all manner of people. We talk about tourism, cars, dentistry like tonight, retail space, you name it. We've probably had a conversation about it. And so why tonight will be kind of funny for you if you've never participated in a focus group before. We will go into probably greater detail and probe on certain topics more than you might be accustomed to talking about things. And really my best advice I can give you is this is kind of a trust tree. It is meant for us to have fully candid conversations with one another. I will not be promoted if you like something I talk about. I will not be fired if you hate something I talk about. You guys might not agree with one another. You all are coming from different parts of the country, different dental schools, going in different parts of the field. And so it's okay if there's some mild disagreement. In some ways, you might find you have more agreement than you think. But really more than anything, I just want to hear your honest thoughts. And that's why we're all here. After you guys leave this room tonight, you can go ahead and reach back out to Fieldwork, or they might reach out to you directly and get all of the payments sorted out. But I want you to know that this is, a real thing. You're really talking to us about this and going to get paid for it. And since you are very much in the dental industry, you are experts in this field, in our opinion. Like I said, we work for an ad agency and a research firm. Our dentistry knowledge is very, very minimal. You might at some points need to kind of go into layman's terms with us. We've talked to some other folks that were telling us all about certain dental procedures or using acronyms that we didn't know. Really, all we know is what we know from going to see our dentist a couple of times a year. So we're really excited to hear your opinion, and thank you for your time. I know for some of you, this is quite late, so appreciate it. Appreciate you joining us. And I think with all of that, you might see me occasionally, by the way, look down. I've got a few questions to make sure I ask. I'm also recording this. This is not a YouTube debut. You're not going to be showing up anywhere. This is really because, again, we only know so much about the field and we want to be able to just recall what you told us. So be able to pull direct quotes from what you said. Like I said, your likeness will not show up anywhere or in any marketing materials. So I think with that, if there are no questions, we can go ahead and get started. I would love to just go one by one and have you introduce yourself. Tell us where you went to school, or if you're currently in dental school, where you go, and maybe a little bit about what made you get into dentistry in the first place. Philip, why don't you start? You're kind of my first box on the screen here.
I go to Indiana University. I chose dental school while taking a shower one day, actually, and then here I am. So,
amazing. Okay,
yeah.
So you're in Indiana and you're still in school?
I am. I'm on my last year right now.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, Neha, you are next up.
I went to Ohio State for dental school, and then I did residency out in Brooklyn in New York City. And now I practice in Chelsea, Manhattan.
Cool. Wonderful.
Yeah. And so honestly, I just loved art and science, so it kind of just mixed the two together.
And when you say you practice, what does practicing mean? What does that look like for you?
I work in office, like in the city, it's like 70% fee for service, 30% insurance. So just like normal practice in the city.
Cool.
And I just do restorative. We have like all the specialties in the office. So I have perio, OS, and endo, so I don't have to do any of that.
Okay, nice. Yeah. All right, Josh, you're next up for me.
All right. So I went to the University of Louisville for school, and now I am in Colorado Springs practicing. And I went in dentistry because I always wanted to do something in the medical field, and I wanted to have a good job with good hours that could let me focus on my family. And started shadowing dentists, and it was really interesting to me. So I went with it.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Mike, you're next up.
Yeah, so I am currently going to Rosamond University in South Jordan, Utah. I graduate in April. I wanted to be a dentist since I was 9 years old. Back then, it was just because I knew they made a lot of money But as I got older, it's actually the exact same reasons as Josh. I love the medical field, wanted a career where I could be in control of my hours and have family time.
Nice. Love that. All right. Suyag, I think we lost Jasmine. So I had locked the room before, but I'll unlock it to see if she makes her way back in. So Suyag, your turn. Oh, are you
yeah.
maybe? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. I'm a fourth year at Temple Dental right now. I graduated in May, and I kind of got into dentistry just because I was interested in the business aspect of it. I kind of want to like be my own boss. I was also kind of interested in healthcare too. So it was kind of like a combination of those two things.
Cool. So yeah, you broke up for me a little bit at the end there. What was the last thing you said?
Oh yeah. So like I kind of got into dentistry because I like the business aspect of it. I wanted to be my own boss, and I kind of like the medical field too. So it's kind of like a good blend of the two.
Nice, nice. So since we have a mix of some folks who are still in school and currently in dentistry, maybe I'll put this to the folks who have already moved on and are in their career. How would you describe the lifestyle? I think a few people have mentioned the lifestyle, knowing there was good pay. How would you describe the lifestyle of being a dentist, and how does that stack up to what you anticipated perhaps when you were in school? So feel free to chime in, Josh, Neha, whomever.
Oh,
Go ahead, Neha.
okay. It's definitely better than school. I will say that. It's nice having like your autonomy, getting to decide your treatment plans and all that stuff, but it is still super stressful. Since I did residency for a year, yeah, I'm about a year and a half out now, but like this past month has been my first actual month of work, and it's just such like the growing pains of getting into practice and like getting the speed, being able to control like 3 rooms, have 3 columns, like it's definitely a lot. And also just like the different type of clientele you work with. Like, I mean, I work in Chelsea, Manhattan, so it's like I have these like bougie patients who are like willing to pay all this money, but it's just like their expectations are also like out the roof versus like if you work like out in boonies, like in a smaller practice and you're the only dentist within 100 miles, like in New York City, there's a dentist on every block. So it's just like a lot of competition and stuff like that too. Also in school, they don't really teach you much about like how important like the marketing aspect is and all that stuff too. Like that's a big part of our practice. We have a really big marketing team, like the social media, like, and like our practice is pretty big. So like I have someone who schedules, I have assistants, I have like treatment coordinators and stuff. So like I don't really have to sell any of my dentistry. Someone does it for me and stuff like that. So I really didn't know about much of that until I actually got into this practice. So it's been cool. It's been fun. Like I honestly just do the dentistry that I want to do, which I'm like fortunate to do that. I don't really have to worry about much because I just truly like I tell the patient, hey, this is what I want to do. Someone else will talk to you about the money. I don't talk money or anything like that, which has been really nice, which a lot of my friends back in Ohio still have to do and stuff like that.
Cool. Very interesting. I want to touch a little more on the growing pains as well, but Josh, I know you were going to chime in too. So let's hear your perspective on expectation versus reality from entering the field of dentistry.
No, yeah, I agree with pretty much everything Neha said. I still have a lot to learn. I only graduated 6 months ago, so but it is really nice being able to just kind of do your thing. It's nice being able to go home, not worry about studying for anything or worrying about getting requirements done. You get to just kind of forget about work once you're home, which is great. But when it comes to like our living style, our lifestyle, nothing's really changed. Still not living great, trying to save up money so we can pay off loans. And I mean, we are eating out a little more than we did in school, but
Love that.
Yeah.
Small victories, right?
That's right. That gets us excited. So
all right. And so the other 3 of you guys are you're all in your 4th year, you said, right? Okay. So have you begun the process of looking for a job yet? Has that started? When does that really start in school? And Neha and Josh, I know you're kind of new into it too, so feel free to chime in after these guys chat with us too on this matter.
Well, really, it's different for everyone, but I've already signed with a company, and I signed earlier this month, so almost 6 months before graduation. I have a lot of colleagues who haven't even thought about looking into a job yet. So just depends on every person. There's no real set time.
When you say it depends on every person, what do you mean by that?
So every dental student it's really up to them to find a job after they graduate. And some people are more interested in making sure they have a job lined up before they graduate. And others are just worried about graduating and then look for a job at that point.
Okay. What percentage do you think fit into either of these buckets? And anyone can feel free to chime in. I know you all go to different schools, so it might be a little different by school.
Yeah, it's tough to say, honestly.
Okay.
Probably like you said, probably like 25 to 30% of people are looking right now, maybe a little bit more. And then the other part are just doing what you said, just worrying about graduating and requirements and stuff like that.
Okay. Philip, what I see you nodding. What do you have to say on that? Or what does it look like for you right now? Are you currently looking? Or are you waiting to make it through?
Yeah, I'm just trying to survive right now. No, I was kidding. No, I've been looking for jobs and I don't know, hasn't been too bad. I mean, like there's just a big mix of people who are willing to just wait until after they graduate, and people who are just trying to get residencies, or it's a broad spectrum.
Okay. So I'd love to know too, it sounds like Neha did a residency, and Mike, I mean, do you want to share what your plan is? What's the career track for you, since you already know?
Yeah, so I'm not doing a residency. I am working for a company out of Oklahoma. I'm starting there as an associate. I agreed to work as an associate for up to 12 months. I'm very business minded, so my plan was just to start as an owner, but it worked out where they had enough value to add where I was okay to be an associate for up to the first 12 months. And then I will buy into partnership I'm actually opening the Montana region for that company.
Oh, wow. Cool. Cool. Awesome. Well, that's exciting. And so, I didn't ask you directly, what was your plan? Are you looking already? Just making it through?
Yeah. So I've been looking for, I would say the last month or two.
Okay.
And just like kind of exploring what's out there. I guess in terms of private practice versus DSO, different aspects of each, and just like kind of weighing the pros and cons and just kind of seeing what's out there right now. Nothing finalized yet, but on the track.
Cool. So what I'd love to understand, again, just not knowing this process, what does it look like to look for a job in dentistry? Do you have to know which track? I know some of you mentioned a DSO versus residency versus private practice, and maybe there are more options. What is the process? Is the onus really on you? Does anyone come to you at the university to help you figure out how to go where you should go next?
So in our school, we have these things called lunch and learns, and we have different companies coming in to pitch whatever they want. So we think we had Aspen Dental, Heartland Dental, and everything dental, and then they kind of give us like what they do as far as like their DSOs or just working under a company. And then we just decide, do our own research and see if it's best for our personality.
Okay, cool. So there's something like lunch and learn. So there are recruitment outreach things on campus.
Correct.
Okay. And is that before people come in and give you their spiel on campus? Do you already have an idea? What's the chatter about jobs among your peers? And I mean, Neha and Josh, feel free to chime in. I know you are not that far out of school, so anyone could jump in on this one.
I feel like a lot of dental students are talking about it from the very beginning. They're bouncing ideas off each other of whether they want to go with a DSO or private practice. And throughout the 4 years, I feel like everyone's mindset changes. One day they'll be saying, I'm just going to join a corporate and get lots of experience. And then the next week they're saying, I'm going to go for a private practice. So everyone's constantly thinking about it, I feel like, and they're constantly changing their mind. And then come 4th year of dental school, even third year, they start getting a lot of those DSOs in to do those lunch and learns, so they can learn more. But if you decide that you want to go private practice, then you've got to search them out, because they usually don't come and do those lunch and learns, at least not as often.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking of those lunch and learns that you guys are talking about, how effective is that? How much have you guys set in on many of them?
Yeah, I've
time
sat
and
in a few.
Okay, Philip, you said on a few. Josh, you're nodding along.
Mhm.
Did any of the rest of you sit in on any?
Yeah, there's been a couple, like all the major DSOs would come to our schools. And it's
Okay.
like the same with every dental school. We get like
Okay.
Aspens and Heartlands and everything.
Okay. So if they're coming, they're offering these lunch and learns, what's the formula like? Do you feel like you're going in because you just want a free lunch, or are you going in because you're really, really curious about what one of them has to tell you?
For me, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike. I just talked.
I was just saying, for me, it's definitely both. I love food, so that's a good bribe to get me there. But I mean, I was kind of looking into finding a job from my D3 year. Like I said, I was very looking ahead and just wanting to have that lined up. So I was very interested in learning about all the companies and what they had to offer. So I think a lunch and learn is a great way for them to get as many students there.
Cool. So it seems like, yes, the meal was absolutely an incentive, but you were really going in wanting to hear what they had to tell you. What about everyone else?
Yeah, I felt the same.
Okay.
Food was a good way to get me there, but I legitimately wanted to hear what they were saying. And I feel like every time I left those lunch and learns feeling like, oh yeah, it sounds like they're pretty good to work for. So then you just got to do your own research from there.
Okay, cool. I want to dig into that too, but I want to hear from the rest of you guys. I mean, do you feel like you went in hoping for actual information, or were you kind of just going in to have a meal?
I think it definitely changes by the year. Like D1,
Okay.
D2 year, you're literally just going in to get food. Your third year, you're like trying to start to figure it out. And then fourth year, I feel like I was going because I was truly like, am I doing residency? Am I moving out of the state? Do I want to work for DSO? It's more like you realize you need a job. So
Yeah.
your last year, I feel like everyone kind of goes with intention.
Okay.
essentially.
So knowing that there are a few different players in this space, and I'm just focusing on this because we're talking about recruitment that is coming to you for the moment. We'll also I want to hear a little bit more about the outreach that needs to be done if they're not coming to you. But for the people that are coming to you and talking to you, did anyone at all say anything that stood out? Are they saying things that stand out? Oh, I think we just lost Josh. Oh no, he's back. Cool. Yeah, are they, did any particular one say anything that resonated? Did anyone stand out for any particular reason?
I feel like most of the companies were pretty unique. They all had great things to offer. So it's going to really go down to, in my opinion, in my experience, it's going to just go down to the personality of the student and what their goals are, to what they're looking to achieve. There's a lot of great companies that have different business models that would benefit that certain personality or that certain goal far better
Okay.
than others.
Anyone else have anything to add to what Mike shared?
I remember when I was back in school, like certain DSOs would like actually like fly you out to like see their company, like spend the weekend with them, like learn their systems and meet like the founders, other people who work for the company. So that was nice because you actually got a feel for the type of people who work for the company. It wasn't just like the recruiter coming and talking to you. You actually got to meet at least like 40 to 60 other people who actually work for the company.
Cool. So there's kind of infusing this element of humanity. It's a real place, real people. Here's who you would work alongside.
Mhm.
Okay. The reason I'm pushing on this matter is I'm curious how much the tactics, like the glitz and glamour being flown out somewhere or taken to lunch or brought lunch, how much of that is what is moving the needle and making you pay attention versus the content of what they're saying. I'm curious what's compelling about what they're telling you.
Well, I personally,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nia.
I was just gonna say, like, I just remember like between like a couple of DSOs that came to school, a lot of them would talked about the thing that stuck out to me was how you could partner with them if you were to partner with those offices, because like some of them, like they make you certain labs or you only can have a certain amount of partnership. You don't really have the freedom to buy like the types of like instruments you want to use. Like everything is like structured to like what they want you to, but then there's other DSOs where they're strictly like, no, you actually own the office. It's just like one or two things that fall under the DSO that you actually have to follow, like the lab we use, or just like, I don't know. It was just like less rules. It was more like you own part of the office versus like some of the DSOs is strictly literally like you have to follow every single rule they want you to.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to add about what they gleaned, or whether there was anything to the recruitment tactic versus the recruitment content?
So with my experience, I had kind of narrowed it down to 3 companies that I was most interested in, and all 3 of them flew me out. If one wouldn't have flown me out, that would have automatically disqualified them in my personal opinion. So that is a necessary step for someone like me. Yeah. To go out there, meet them, see who they are, see what they're about, that kind of thing.
And why was that a necessary step?
For me, it's important to know who I'm really working with, and what I mean. In a presentation, you can talk numbers, you can talk about a lot of stuff, but until you go see actual offices and practices, you don't know the environment that you'll be working in, unless you go out there and have that experience, as well as meeting the people that you'll be working with, which you can't know that in just a presentation, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get that. Getting deeper connections with people.
And
okay.
I wanted to add that, like, when they're willing to fly you out and take you places, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel wanted, like they actually care about you. They really want you.
I get that. There's some sort of value in feeling like they're investing in you enough to take that interest and bring you out and let you see more. Yeah, totally. Okay. So before we get too far, because I want to talk a little bit more about DSOs and a couple of them specifically, I'd love to understand, why would someone opt for, so the DSOs are coming to you, going into private practice requires, the onus is on you. You've got to find where you want to go, maybe what state you want to practice in, find the practitioner that you want to join with, or open up your own office. Why would someone want to go down the private track versus a DSO track? What are the pros and cons of each? Perhaps you could explain to me.
I know for me, at least, when I was like balancing them back and forth, private offers like in terms of partnership and then equity, you get equity in the practice itself, where some DSOs will let you become a practice owner and some will never let you own your own practice. So at the end of the day, you won't have equity in your practice. Like in private practice, once you pay it off, you'll have like actual like tangible assets in it. And then also with private practice, you can kind of build a culture that you want, whereas a DSO the culture might already be there. So it's kind of like different, I guess different pros, but also DSO would also give you a private practice in a much more, I guess, a quicker route. Maybe that's not true, but from what I've read, it's more of like the ones that do offer you to get ownership will do it in more direct route than, like, I guess, like finding somewhere or someplace on your own.
Okay.
I guess for me, since I do work in private practice,
yeah.
For me, a big thing was being able to control my schedule, and also like I choose the amount of time I want for every procedure. Like, say I look at a person, I'm like, oh, I actually probably need like 2.5, 3 hours. It's not like they're side booking me a ton that I have like 3 or 4 patients I'm seeing. I'm like, no, I'm seeing this patient at this time. Do not do this. because I control exactly everything that I do all day long, and no one tells me anything else, or I don't have to like, I know DSOs, there are like, they try to get you to treatment plan a certain amount of things, or you do have to do certain things. For me, it's truly, I have no one like overlooking me for stuff like that. Like I am my own boss completely, which I absolutely love working with
Okay.
this.
Is
And
that
also
oh
the
go ahead.
ownership part too. It's just like a lot easier to have more equity in something. Like for me, like before I even started the job, they already talked to me about 5 years down the line or being a lead dentist and stuff like that before I even signed. So it's just like already established essentially.
Okay. And so it seems like maybe there is more opportunity for autonomy and ownership at the start when you go private at the outset. And one of the things you did mention at the beginning, Neha, was that there's a lot of other business aspects too to manage, right? That you hadn't maybe known about, like marketing and social media, and your office already has people in place doing that.
Yeah, so we have like I have someone who does scheduling, I have someone who does the front desk, I have someone who does all my treatment planning, I have insurance. We have the social media, like there's someone for everything. So then I just truly focus on the dentistry. I don't have to worry about anything else.
Cool. How much do you guys think that schooling sets you up for that type of understanding? You might need someone for every single one of those things, or at least someone who can manage many of those things. Do you feel that you are equally taught how to be a dentist and a business person? Josh, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I'd say definitely not.
Okay.
I don't even know how much they prepared me to be a dentist, but
Okay, wait. Can you give us a little more on that?
you guys, I don't know, Neha probably understands a lot, but I mean, you finally get out of dental school and you feel like you're in your first year of dental school again. You're just like, holy cow, what is going on? Everything's so much faster. It's you calling the shots. You don't have to get everything improved, but you just gotta, you're just trying to figure things out for yourself, once you're actually practicing. But yeah, I don't know.
So do you just feel like maybe you weren't set up for, so the autonomy sounds like a huge draw. I mean, Neha, you spoke of that really highly, but maybe there's the dark side of the autonomy, which is that you didn't feel set up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I work with one of the docs. He's trying to retire, so he's been working for 40 years. The other doc, she works only 2 days a week, but she's been working for 15 years. But for me, like they really need another dentist, so they're scheduling me like the same in the beginning, at least the first 2 weeks, they were like scheduling me the same amount of time they were giving these docs who've been practicing for 40 years. And I was just like, no, like to do a build up, crown prep, a temp, final impression, like I need at least an hour and a half to do all that because you're required to do all that in one appointment. And I still have my other patients, like I'm seeing new patients and hygiene checks. Like you aren't prepared for any of that coming out of school. Like to do a build up, crown, temp, final impression, an hour and a half. Like, and I have like 3 crowns a day usually. So it's just like, plus my like 4 to 5 other patients I'm seeing for fillings and stuff like that. So it's just like they slam you right away and you aren't prepared for this fee, but also just like when it comes to running the business, like my boss, he went to dental school, but he's like not going to be practicing starting in like March. He's 28, but he graduated dental school really early. But he's just doing all the management. So he takes a ton of management and business courses, and that's why he runs the offices now. He like doesn't do the dentistry at all. He's like, yeah, we didn't learn any of this in school, and that's why I'm running the practices. I'm not doing dentistry anymore.
Okay.
At least he's a dentist, so he understands where we're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. But that seems pretty atypical. Although I know both Suyag and Mike, you expressed interest in the business aspect of things and the positive financial gain with dentistry. But I did feel like many of you came into it talking about that why you went into dentistry. Neha mentioned art and science. It sounded like there was not a lot about thinking about running a business that was leading you into dentistry necessarily.
Yeah, no, not at all. For me, at least, it wasn't.
For me, there definitely was. That was part of my reasoning, as I mentioned earlier, is is I wanted to be in control of my business, of my hours, of when I'm working, running my own business. And so I already, coming into dental school, I own pawn shops and I have real estate. So I'm, I guess, an entrepreneur. I enjoy the business aspect side of things. So being able to run my own business is a very important part. And dentistry is kind of the only area within the medical field where you truly own and run your own business without any larger corporations kind of overseeing everything you're doing, like in a hospital.
Yeah. Okay. So given what you're saying, where does like a DSO fit into that for you? Are they a larger corporate entity, or are you your own business owner within a DSO? How do you see that?
Yeah, most DSOs, you are definitely not in control of any of the business side of things. The DSO that I was completely against DSOs going into dental school. And just like Josh said earlier, I feel like everyone within dental school said they start with an idea, and then by the end of the 4 years, it's like they've gone through every option saying they were wanting to do that, and it just kind of ends wherever they're at. But the only reason I am with this DSO is because I am able to go into ownership very soon, and I have complete autonomy with what I do, what procedures I do, how my schedule, all of that stuff, as if I was the full owner. But they take care of a lot of the business side of things, the marketing, the billing, the hiring, all that stuff. I have a say with all that if I want it, but they take care of it, so I don't have to think about it.
Okay.
So that's not typical for DSOs, though. That DSO is quite forward thinking, I guess, compared to older DSOs.
Okay, cool. So one thing you are maybe dancing around the subject of, and I don't want to speak poorly of DSOs necessarily, but do people go into dental school not wanting to go into DSOs originally? And why? What is there some, I guess what I'm asking, let me take it to a higher level. Is there generally some negative perception of a DSO?
I would say so.
Why?
A lot of people say you're like a lot of the time doing dentistry you don't need to be doing, stuff like that. A lot of over treatment planning and stuff like that. Like those are the initial connotations for a lot of reasons why people are like, oh no, you're not going to do great dentistry if you work for a DSO.
Okay.
Yeah. As well as just not having autonomy, being told you have to do X number of crowns, X number of bridges and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else? Philip, Suyag, anything you want to add to that, or did you feel differently?
No, that's basically it. I mean, the quota part is like kind of like an overarching theme with DSOs. Like everyone else said, you have to do a certain amount of this, certain amount of this, and then if you don't do it, then I guess I don't know what happens. But that's kind of like what the what the impression we got was. But I don't think they're all like that, to be honest. I've
Okay.
definitely heard other things too. So
Okay. So what are some, I heard someone say Aspen Dental. What are some DSO companies?
there's like Heartland, Aspen, Pacific,
Pacific,
Comfort.
Comfort.
Mhm.
So I was going to say I personally don't consider Comfort a DSO. I'm working for Spring Dental, which is a DSO, Positive Impact, Family Dental. A lot of those larger DSOs that he just mentioned, I would never consider working for. I would never work for Heartland or Aspen. Just the massive scale ones seem to be the ones who you're just a number in their cog. It's not very personal. And that's where you're getting a lot of the quotas in those larger scale.
Okay. Okay. Just to bring it back to something you said earlier, do those ones that are more faceless, kind of big, Aspen and Heartland, you said, are those ones ones that would fly people out? Would they put that investment in on people too? Or are they really just kind of, you're a number?
They fly people out.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And then Mike, you said that Comfort Dental is not a DSO?
Yeah, from my understanding, I mean, they're a franchise. They're a true franchise business,
Okay.
which I guess technically, I guess maybe I don't fully understand the definition of a dental service organization.
I was just going to ask what DSO stood for, so I definitely don't.
Yeah.
Does anyone know that answer? Okay.
What DSO stands for?
Yeah. Well, no, what DSO means versus a franchise.
I think with the DSOs, there's still, because that was the thing that Comfort kind of like harped on, was some like the owners still own the actual business. There's no one above them who actually own it. It's all the partners who invest into that practice who own that practice.
Okay.
So that's why with Comfort, you do get a lot more feel of private practice in a way versus the bigger DSOs. Because
Okay.
I don't really consider Comfort really a DSO either in a way, based off of like the people I know who work for it and stuff.
Okay. Because that's interesting. I feel like we haven't talked about something that is not a private practice and not a DSO. So does Comfort sit in this like kind of weird space by itself? Or are there other franchise model, or is Supreme more of a franchise model?
I mean, the only one I really know of is Comfort, because I mean, I'm from Ohio, so Comfort's really big out there.
Okay.
I don't know about any other ones.
Yeah, from what I've read, Comfort is the only dental franchise in North America.
Okay. All right. And so franchise versus DSO, I know Mike was saying he wasn't totally sure what the difference was. Does anyone know what would make a franchise perhaps better or worse?
Well, just the difference in business model, where a franchise, you're owning, like Neha said, you literally own your business and you're paying royalties to a company for having their name and their branding, where in
Okay.
a DSO, you're just an employee. So it's
Okay. But there's varying levels within just the DSO of autonomy. And then I'm going to stop harping on this like very tactical thing. Okay, cool. I think this is really helpful. So I know that Mike is going for the DSO. Neha, you're in private practice. Well, I don't know, Josh, are you in a private practice too? I can't remember if you told us if you
No,
were.
I'm in DSO actually.
Okay, so you work with a DSO. Okay, so Young and Philip, where do DSOs fit into your career hunt? Are they in the mix or are they not?
Yeah, I guess for me, they're definitely in the mix.
Okay.
I had some friends actually recently got flown out to different things. There were like, some of them were offering ownership, which is like another thing with DSOs, which was what I was talking about. And some of them weren't. So I guess the ones that would offer a path to ownership, or like at least associate first and then obviously go into ownership later on the line, those are ones I would kind of like focus on. The ones that don't offer ownership and then, I guess X amount of years, I wouldn't even consider them probably. But yeah, they're definitely like on the radar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Philip?
I missed the question.
Oh.
My internet is like,
Yeah, you're breaking up for us a little bit. Do you want to try and like log off and log back in? Oh, all right. I'm gonna let Philip figure that out. Well, I'm going to shift us to actually one of the reasons I really brought you all here, and we've been starting to talk about Comfort Dental. You were all attended a Comfort Dental session at some point in the last year or 2 years. Philip, can you hear us? I see you moving.
okay. Am I here?
Yeah. Hey. Okay. Before we keep going, where do DSOs fit into your career track?
I know some friends are doing some DSOs. I don't have an official opinion about them yet. I mean, they all, from what my friends are do.
Okay, we lost you a little bit there. Philip, it might be better if you want to take your video off. You might have better internet connectivity.
Sounds good.
Cool. Okay, so some of your friends were looking into it. You weren't totally sure, is what I gathered.
Yeah, I don't know too much about DSOs.
Okay.
I looked into it too much, but from what they're saying, sounds like there's good aspects to it, you know.
Yeah, sweet. Well, I was starting to say, as your Wi-Fi was figuring itself out, that you're all brought here today because you attended a Comfort Dental introductory session. And we're really trying to just understand a little bit more about the experience, what worked and what didn't work, and if there's anything that they could be doing to better explain what they're offering to people and what might feel different about a Comfort versus another type of career opportunity. But before we get too deep into the details of the session itself that you attended, I'd actually love to understand, and I know we were asking a little bit about DSOs and perceptions, but how much did you know about Comfort Dental before you attended a session? Had you heard of it, and what had you heard?
I had gotten to learn a lot about Comfort Dental before I attended that session in January. But I had heard about Comfort Dental a few years ago. It was during my first year of dental school. And so as I got closer to actually looking for a job, I really started looking a lot into Comfort Dental and reaching out to a lot of guys that were working with them. I had a friend from dental school that was a couple years ahead of me. He started working for Comfort Dental in New Mexico. So I was talking with him about it. Most everything I heard was positive from them. And so that really got my interest. But yeah, I'd heard a lot of good stuff.
Okay. What about everyone else? What did you heard?
So I didn't know a whole lot about him. I had my senior classmate who graduated the year just the spring, who went with Comfort, and he was making great money, loved working with who he was working with, and he loved the experience. Before he actually got that experience, I was not interested in Comfort at all because I heard they do a lot of perio, and I was not interested in doing a lot of perio. So, but I'm glad because of the connections, the network I had, that's really what opened me up to being open to listening to dental or to Comfort Dental.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like I had to do residency to move to New York City. So that was like really my big reason why I did residency. But if I was in San Ohio, Comfort was actually one I was considering just like for like a first like year or two, just to get quick, like see a lot of different cases, a lot of different patients. But also when we were in school, we got to rotate out and work at Comfort Dental because we did like 50 days off site. And so like working with the people who were at Comfort or like past classmates and stuff like that, we got like a feel for how the practice ran. And honestly, it was a lot different than like something like Aspen and stuff like that. So Comfort was appealing, and that actually was one of the companies that flew me out to Denver. So
cool. And you said it's not like Aspen. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. I just know people who work for Aspen. It just seems like the work culture is a lot more different than Comfort. Like I feel like with Comfort, you still get a lot more autonomy over what you do in a way.
Okay.
Based off what my friends have said, because I have friends who work for both.
Okay. Cool. I would also love to know, again, before we start talking about the specifics of the session you attended, what role does the university play at all in telling you about Comfort? Did they play a role? How do you know that Comfort's coming to town, to school, to do their lunch and learn or whatever session they did?
Comfort Dental was not involved at all with the University of Louisville. So everything I learned was on my own.
Okay.
You would have past classmates who work for Comfort Dental come back and do the event like at a bar or something or at the school.
Okay. But it's not like the university was introducing you, giving you any background information or anything.
Yeah, it was
like
mostly
that.
word of mouth, and then we would get like, well, my university, you recently got Comfort into promoting them, and that happened I think like a month ago. So, but before that, I learned it through a friend.
Okay. So mostly it seems like it's a network thing. You know, people who work for Comfort and things like that, and you learn what they were saying. And I know, Neha, what you were talking about that your friends told you about working at Comfort. Josh, what was your friend who went to New Mexico? What was he saying his experience was like?
He was making a lot of money, doing whatever he wanted, working the hours he wanted for the most part. He said nothing but great things about it. So he just he's really enjoyed working for them, making really good money.
You know, only because you just said making good money twice, and I've heard a couple of you talk about it. I'm really curious. How important is that when you're thinking of leaving business school? Oh my gosh, dental school. How important is compensation? Is that everything? Was there something for you that felt more important and compensation was a part of it? What role does it play?
It's almost everything.
Okay.
If it was everything, I would move to like a rural area and just make a lot of money just for that, you know.
Okay.
But I think it has a good balance between, from what I understand, good average pay that's like fair, as well as autonomy to work the hours that you want, and location variety. But the money is like what we
It's
need.
almost everything. I actually love that answer. Does anyone else feel that same way or differently? Is it more than almost everything for some? Less than?
I'm thinking of loans in my perspective right now.
Okay. Yep. Fair.
Yeah, I think he said it pretty well. It is a very major factor. Certainly not everything, but it is a major factor, deciding factor. But I guess we can put it this way: if you don't make a certain enough or a certain amount, no one will go with that company, period.
Okay. How upfront and center, and we could talk about it, Comfort Dental specifically, but how upfront and center is pay and compensation with these different companies, whether private or what you would get coming out of a residency or a DSO?
I think a lot varies on where you live. Like I live in New York City, so there's an overflux of dentists here. So it's like you're not going to make as much as you make in the Midwest, and the competition is out the roof essentially in the city. And it's like the cost of living here is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's just like you can't have the expectation of you're going to make the same amount of money as you would in the Midwest, as you would in the city. But that's why also it's better. Well, New York City doesn't really have DSO, number one. So that's not really an option here. But that's why most people go the private practice route, because you need to make a little bit more money while you're here. But also that's the other downside is like more than half the city's on Medicaid, Medicare. So that's also something to weigh the options of what practice you work for. Because if you do work for private practice, it's still like, in a way, if you work for a private practice that takes mostly just Medicaid, Medicare, you're kind of like working essentially for a DSO in a way.
Interesting. Okay. And do you think that when you're, and I guess more when you're looking at job options, do you feel that people are really very forthright about compensation, or do you have to dig deep into it to figure out whether it's going to be worth your while, if you will?
I feel like that was something like right off the bat I did, because I waited for my license for 4 months. Like it took 4 months to get it in New York. So I did probably like, I just kept doing interviews. So I did probably like 20 to 30 interviews in private practice. And like right away, like if I didn't know how much I was making, I would ask right away, because I'm just like, that's not something I'm bouncing around the subject for. Like I need to know at least what my base is and then what my percent is of what I'm going to get, because if they like employ me, then I'm not even making enough money to like pay loans and live. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the point's an interesting thought. So did you guys, the rest of you guys, feel like you had some of that similar perspective? Did you have to make sure that it's going to pass the sort of what's the point test when you were evaluating, or as you are currently evaluating options?
I would say so. I mean, I'm a little more ambitious than at least most of the people I'm going to school with, and so a lot of numbers that looked appealing to my classmates were not at all appealing to me. It was like that was a floor. Other people's ceilings were my floor. Like I wasn't interested in anything less than that amount. So definitely had to be I was definitely looking for opportunities where I could create a high income, and that was otherwise what was the point in my eyes?
Okay. All right. No, I appreciate that. It was a bit of a left turn in talking about Comfort Dental, but because a couple of you guys had talked about it, I realized we hadn't really talked about the importance that compensation played in evaluation and also the way that companies spoke with you. So I would love to just move into the session itself that you guys sat in on. And so I'd love to understand, I think you've all kind of talked a little bit about some of the things Comfort Dental was telling you, but maybe one by one, you guys could kind of share with me if you were to sum up the Comfort Dental elevator pitch, the like 30-second, 3-sentence, what does Comfort Dental stand for? What would you tell me? Based not on what you knew before, but specifically what you heard from them.
Well, I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
What I heard from them is you are going to make the most money within dentistry with them. You're a business owner from day one. You're an equal partner with your other partners in the office. And therefore you're in control of, you work less hours than most others.
Okay. Okay. So really good pay, some control of everything, the operations, but also a bit more freedom and flexibility in your lifestyle schedule. Okay. What else? What would, Josh, what would your spiel be from your session?
It would have been that exact spiel that Mike just gave. You can make great money within Comfort, having more autonomy than most anywhere else, and having the lifestyle and schedule that you want. You can have a lot of time to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, and like adding on to that too, I feel like with Comfort too, you're never like forced to do anything out of your comfort zone. Because like I have a lot of friends who they're like allowed to refer out, but they want to refer out. They don't want to do molar endo. They're not doing it. They're giving it to maybe someone else in the practice or sending it out, like stuff like that.
Okay. So definitely, I feel that flexibility comes through too in the actual practicing of the work and doing the work. Okay. Anything else?
I think walk-ins, accepting all patients who come in and like doing mostly the work you do as an assistant would, as far as like cleanings go.
Okay, so is that
Involved
that's
in, like,
something that they told you in that session?
yeah.
Okay.
Just
What
that you're
did you-
involved mostly with patients during cleanings and Medicaid and walk-ins. Just the patient volume is like the thing they pitched to me.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's helpful. And so I'd love to know, and maybe some of what you guys were sharing with me about the sort of quick elevator pitch of your recall from the session applies here, but what really resonated with you in the session? What were they saying that went right? And you could just throw any little thing out to me that you recall or remember. What were the things that you really appreciated that they shared with you?
I like how they showed like a spreadsheet of each of their dentists, what they make. They're pretty transparent in their income. So I thought that was pretty nice.
Okay. And so that was really beneficial for you to actually see things about transparency and income. What about everyone else? Did that work well for you, not work well for you?
That was,
Yeah, I definitely like that. Sorry, cut you off.
no, go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, I definitely like that part. I do remember them putting it up on the PowerPoint, something like that, of just different numbers, different like tangible things that we could look at, and you could kind of see where they were at, and they were being honest with everything, and so it was definitely helpful to see that. Definitely a good aspect of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was huge. That was very important for me as well, to have that transparency, and it just adds the trust level to that company where they're not just saying something, but they are are able to back up what they're saying with proof of what all their docs are actually making.
Okay.
And that was super important for me.
Yeah. So it sounds like there was a visual PowerPoint element. Who was in the room delivering this information to you?
Matt
Yeah.
Carlson.
Oh, I didn't need their actual name, but I was curious, like, what role do they play? Were they captivating? Did they have an impact in you being interested?
Kind of just told it how it was. It wasn't really like a pitch. He was just like, hey, this is what we have and this is what we do. Take it or leave it, kind of, you know.
So
That's
pretty
what
matter of fact, pretty straightforward. How does that type of an energy, is that a good thing for you, Philip?
For me, yeah, because you're not wasting time with fluff. You're just telling me the facts. We're done, you know.
Were there other companies that do a lot of fluff?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
As-
So cut the fluff. Does everyone agree with that, or just some people like the fluff?
If you're
agree
eating, it doesn't matter.
Okay, Mike's really into no fluff, no nonsense.
No fluff.
All right, Josh too. Okay, all right. So there was someone in there who was pretty no nonsense. But you don't know exactly what role they play within the company, whomever delivered the information.
So for me, it was the recruiters and the owner of the company.
Like the whole head honcho of Comfort Dental.
Yeah.
Wow. Josh, you're nodding too. So you also
Yeah.
had. Okay, how did that make you feel?
Like a peasant. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's cool that he's still super involved
Okay.
like that and doesn't take a back seat, you know, to everyone.
What does something like that tell you about Comfort Dental as an organization?
They're very ambitious. They have a goal that they want to achieve. I just got the feeling that they're just trying to get the word out and want everyone to hop on board. I don't know what else was thinking, but
All right, get the word out. Okay, we're talking about the positives. All of you have ended up not working with Comfort Dental as of yet, or are maybe in various levels of interest with it, but was anything putting you off? Did anything turn you off from what was shared, or the delivery of the way it was shared?
During our presentation, I mean, when there was a couple questions asked and the person presenting at the time giving the information straight up said it was a stupid question. So yeah, it didn't sound too good.
Okay. So there's maybe there's the other side of the no nonsense that was perhaps a bit too brash.
Right. And I think that made people more hesitant to ask questions after that.
Okay. Okay. How did that ultimately, because Josh, it sounded like you had heard a lot of really good things about Comfort Dental. So how was that ultimately what led you to walk away? How far along did you get in the process before you ultimately opted to go elsewhere?
No, even after that, I kept looking into it. I went and interviewed at a couple practices. And one of them I kept pursuing. It just ended up not working out for me. Then it was someone else. So that's how it ended. So yeah.
Okay. Did anybody else go from a step further from the lunch and learn or whatever informational session they attended? Did anybody actually go into the process of interviewing with Comfort Dental beyond Josh?
I did.
Okay.
I went and visited a couple different offices in a few different states, both of which, well, I guess, yeah, the one, again, they paid my way to go see that office in that state as well. So they flew me out to their corporate event, and then they paid my way to go see that office I was quite interested in. And for me, similar to Josh, I probably would have gone with Comfort, but the position that I was going for, they happened to fill, and so I went another direction because the opportunity left.
Yep, fair. So because you guys are all pretty familiar with I'm going to say other DSOs that recruited on campus, I think it's very interesting to hear that it does feel like Comfort Dental is perhaps a different business model in your eyes. You're able to tell that there is something different, but was there anything that Comfort Dental, I know I was asking if there's anything that turned you off. Did they say anything at all to you that you did not believe or did not trust?
I don't know. Like, I kind of felt like they were saying their average dentist made like $350,000 a year or something. And a lot of the practices I was looking at, I'd actually get the numbers from those guys working in that practice, and all of them said they were doing extremely well and making a lot of money, and their numbers were usually below 300,000. So I did have a hard time believing that their average dentist was 350,000 or more.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it was.
You weren't doing the average from the spreadsheet in the room?
No.
Okay, that's fair. No, it's good. I want to hear anything that felt maybe perhaps like you were getting misled in any way, or anything that just didn't feel like you bought it. Anything else, guys?
I just want to say my experience from Josh's was opposite, where and again, it was kind of my personality. Like I said, I was very ambitious, so I was seeking out the higher income earners. But the numbers, I don't remember exactly. I thought the average was like 320 or something, and all of the spreadsheet, whatever it was, the spreadsheet did seem to add up from what I saw. And most of the people I was networking with were well above average, like making 500 plus K a year.
Mike probably did his homework better than I did. So.
I'm just saying that wasn't something that was unbelievable to me, regardless of the numbers, kind of thing.
Totally. Mike brought his calculator to the lunch and learn. He was tabulating in the room, just checking them on their math.
I think that's like kind of what turned me off, was like there being such high numbers, because I was just like, realistically, what type of dentistry are you doing? And how much are you doing if you're making that much, if I'm being honest, as a general dentist?
No, and that's exactly what we want, is that honesty. So what does that mean for you when you say, what kind of work are you doing and how much are you doing? What would those numbers indicate? Just kind of walk me through that, because I'm not very, I don't know the industry.
I just like wonder how much, like, how many patients are you seeing in your schedule? Are you being triple booked? Also, like, when I did work for Comfort, like during school, like I didn't want to be doing cleanings. I didn't want to be doing SRPs. Like, that's why I have hygienists right now. Like, that's not what I want to do as a dentist either. So that was something that turned me off. I was like, even if it means I make more money, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I enjoy other aspects of dentistry more. And I don't want me doing work I don't want to be really doing, I guess. I think that defeats the purpose of our career. You're doing things just to make more money. But also that depends on your mindset and what you want to be doing, I guess, too. So when I was like seeing 500,000, like the higher numbers, I'm like, how are you making that as a general dentist when that's usually like around what an oral surgeon's like salary is, if I'm being honest?
Okay. No, that's great. That's awesome. And I know you said that you had a few friends who ended up working with Comfort Dental.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever ask them what they thought of that, or what?
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend in Ohio. She absolutely loves it. She's a partner with the practice. I know she makes probably around like 400,000 a year as a general dentist, but she is like on her feet. Like, she is seeing a crap ton of patients. She's doing a lot of the cleanings too. She's doing all the SRPs and stuff like that. But she's also like, she can do a root canal in like 20 to 30 minutes. Like, she's really quick. So that's how I can believe that she's producing that much. I have other friends who like recently started in Comfort maybe like a year and a half ago, and like they're doing well, but they're not making that much money. Like, they're probably making more towards like the 200, 250 range. Other friends, I know their starting salary was like 180. That's like was the starting salary that Comfort will give you without like the additional bonuses and stuff like that. So that's why I was just like, to me, the numbers were skewed. I was just like, where are they getting these numbers from?
Yeah. So yeah, and Philip, I know you've been a little quieter because you haven't quite picked your career track yet, but I'm just curious what you thought during your session that you attended. Was there anything that you found that was seemingly not believable to you, or perhaps just downright turned you off?
In terms of believable, I didn't really believe or not believe that 300. I got the number 363,000 as the average. When I first heard that number, I was kind of skeptical, but then I did talk to the other doctors too, who were like pretty transparent with me, and they were pretty honest, and most of them were even above average. So I didn't really doubt that. But looking around at like on forums and stuff like that, it does seem like almost too high as a general dentist. I mean, I don't know. I guess it could be the location that they're in that makes it, better for dentistry or something. But that was something that was kind of in the back of my mind. Like, I don't know if I really do believe this number, but other than that, nothing really turned me off from it. I guess I'm from the East Coast, so just Comfort being kind of Midwest and West is kind of the only thing that would really be a downside. Other than that, I really liked it.
Okay. So after you guys attended this session, and just maybe think back to you in that mindset of going to that session, was your perception of Comfort Dental better, worse, or the same?
I think mine was about the same.
Okay.
Say mine was better.
Okay. Yours was better.
Mine was
Why
probably
would
better.
you?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Suyag.
Oh, I was just gonna say mine was probably a little bit better too.
Okay. So for both of you guys, what made it better than what you thought walking into that room? Why was walking out made you think, oh, Comfort Dental's better than I thought?
I think I didn't know before walking in that you could become like a partner extremely quick. Like, I think their model is that they don't even want you to be an associate, really. They kind of want you to partner and get 25% equity basically as soon as you want. That I really liked. And then we actually toured the lab, which was really nice. And then their mentorship aspect, they said they would help mentor you and stuff like that. So I did like all their like major points. It was looked pretty good, to be honest.
We haven't talked a lot about mentorship. Mentorship is very interesting considering the value you guys clearly place on autonomy. And by the way, we'll wrap up in the next 5-10 minutes. I recognize it's getting late, but where does mentorship fit into the autonomy aspect? Do you need mentorship? Want mentorship?
For me, I wanted mentorship, which is what allured me to Comfort. I didn't want to be like in an island by myself, thinking of things. But I liked the camaraderie that they had. Just in my personality, I liked just you start at your own pace and you kind of just go with how fast you think you can go, and having that mentorship to help you along the way.
Okay.
Mentorship was extremely important for me as well. And kind of going back to seeking those higher income earners, in my past business experience, the better you treat your clientele or your patients, the more income you're naturally going to earn. The more value you add to people, a result is going to be higher value added to you, whether that's an income or whatever model of business you're in. And so finding someone to mentor me that was making that higher income was important, because obviously they would have a great skill set and know how to have that skill set and treat their patients well and add value to them.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I kind of love to end this on knowing that you actually all seem to have generally positive perceptions, experiences in this session with Comfort Dental, generally positive perceptions, but you ultimately went elsewhere. So if we were trying to help Comfort Dental revamp their materials, revamp what they're saying, think about a new way to connect with people, what advice would you give Comfort Dental on how to run a more enticing session? Or maybe not a session at all.
Personally, I would maybe change the venue. The Peapod that I went to was very crammed in a smaller room, not really places for some people to sit, kind of a lot of people hanging out the door, coming in and out. So maybe just a little more professional setting for the Peapod. I mean, that wasn't a huge factor, but it was just kind of wasn't the best part of the experience because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also kind of like what Josh said, like even when I was there, like some things they would say, I was just like, did you actually like read the room? Like you probably shouldn't have said that. Just put it kind of lightly, I guess. I don't know. It was just kind of like maybe a little bit more diversity too in the room, if I'm being honest too.
Yeah. Well, okay. More diversity. And when you say read the room, do you mind just, I know Josh said that someone asked a question and the guy was like, that's a really dumb question, which is brash. But what do you mean by read the room?
It's just like some of the languages they would use, it was just like kind of unprofessional, and also just like, I don't want this to sound weird if the way I'm saying it, but it's just like a lot of like older men like throwing jokes at each other. I'm like, we're like here to like see your office, like it's a serious like professional job, like stop having all your like little small inner side jokes. Like it was just like old men talking dentistry to each other, like laughing about it. And I'm like, wait, are you pitching to us or are you not pitching to us?
Okay. Cool. That's
And like
helpful.
as a woman too, it's just like, all right, makes you feel a little bit weird.
Yeah. So particularly perhaps as a woman, it felt like there was more of a bro-ish culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
There though. But like when you go to the separate offices, not at all. It was just like at the meeting, it was just like a little bit of weird time. But I also went like what, like a year and a half, 2 years ago now? Because I graduated 2020.
Okay. Cool.
I would agree with I would recommend they increase their professionalism at that meeting. As for diversity, the meeting I went to was plenty diverse. There was both men and women, plenty of different skin color, different religions. There was a great diversity within my meeting.
Okay.
My experience was January of this year, so they still weren't holding the Peapods, the meetings like in person. They were planning on doing ours in person, but ended up kind of last minute canceling it, and we did it over Zoom like this. But during that, they said, hey, if you guys do come out, like we'll reimburse you, we'll take care of your travel and anything else. And so I went out, interviewed at some places, and I tried to ask them to pay to reimburse me. And when it came down to it, they ended up avoiding it.
Okay. So maybe there was some bigger talk in the room or the Zoom than in reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, Philip, any advice you would give to Comfort Dental to?
Honestly, that was like, I think a couple people have already said like the crammed room. Honestly, that's the only thing in my opinion or that I can remember, to be honest.
Okay.
It was like kind of crammed and people were kind of out the door and stuff like that.
Okay.
I would add just onto Josh's note there. I wouldn't have had my one trip reimbursed if I wasn't speaking specifically with the recruiter I was working with. So I would recommend they have maybe a more generic or set way to reimburse people. Or, I mean, because some people get reimbursed, some people it's not even offered to them. So just kind of have a more uniform approach to that.
Okay. Cool.
Might be a good idea.
Yeah, I think they actually used to do that because like when I went, the recruiter literally booked all my tickets and everything. So I didn't even have to pay for anything. Hotel, car, and my flights were all booked for me. So I think that's maybe something recently they stopped doing.
I was just talking to visit offices outside of that
Oh,
PPOD
okay.
meeting. All of my stuff was booked for that PPOD meeting, but to interview, to go meet owners in out-of-state practices or anywhere outside of that meeting, some people like they do pay the entire trip for some people, and other people have to pay their whole way.
Cool. Cool. Well, those are really the end of my questions, Margaret. I know you've been kind of following along here. Anything we've missed?
I think we've covered much of what we wanted to cover. Here's kind of a fun, well, you know what? I think we covered it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank you guys so much for your time. Really beneficial. I know it's a little late, really appreciate it, and the honesty and the perspective. And yeah, I hope you have a great night, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks.
Hey guys.
See ya.
Recording stopped.
Not sure if you guys are still on the stream. Do you want to debrief now, or do you guys want to take time tomorrow? I know, again, it's now 8:15, so if everyone wanted to log off for the night, that's also fine. Oh God. Oh wait, no, yeah. I thought I was on mute. Okay, I think everyone started to log off. I'm gonna end the meeting. Thank you guys so much in the back room. I will talk to you later.